Welcome, everybody. Thank you very much to everybody that showed up on time. I'm going to give it another minute or so. If you are here early, I really appreciate it. What I'd love you to do is go ahead and find the comments section on whatever platform you're watching on and just say, hey, I can hear you and I can see you and we're all ready to go. So I'll give it another minute. All right, welcome everybody. Thank you very much for coming on time. I really appreciate it. We're going to get started in just a moment. So just about another minute or so. If you can hear me and see me, just find the comments box in the platform you're watching on. If you're on LinkedIn, please do that. Please find the comment box. Just let me know, and those comments come up on my screen. I can see them, and we'll be able to interact that way. All right then, welcome to everybody who's joined me today for the Authority Engine Workshop. I'm very, very excited to share this with you today. We're going to go through how we've been building over the course of the last 6 months, incredible traction on various platforms. We're going to take you through the thinking that we have. We've got some new thinking, new models that we've been using, and we also have a bit of a demonstration at the end of the software and how it's all working. Thanks, Daniel. G'day, Desiree and Michael. Really appreciate your attendance today. So let's dive into it. This is a lot of this is new. G'day, Ed. Kia ora. For my American people joining me as well, thank you very much for joining in the evening. It's 7:30 at night here. But I know how hard the Americans work, so it's probably just a normal day for you all. So let's dive in to the workshop. So let's start with this. Let me just make I'm not the most important person here. Let me just make me go to this size. There we go. Cool. Well, let's start with an introduction. I'll go back to this one. So my name is Matthew. Welcome everybody. So over the course of my career, I've owned, run, and exited about 6 different software companies, mostly in education and also in SaaS space. So I've had a number of software companies over the last 10 years. I've been consulting to organizations around the world to help them sell more to the right people. Pretty simple stuff, pretty simple promise that we make. And over that time, I've worked with some incredible companies. So that's who I am. That's what we do. So overview, what we're going to look at today is the Authority Workshop and some new frameworks and how we're going to work here. I want to first, of course, recognize everybody that has come along as well. G'day, Emmanuel. I spoke with you a couple of hours ago. Thanks for showing up. Appreciate it. And so if you're just joining these webinars, please find the comment box on the platform you're on, whether it be YouTube or LinkedIn. Make your comments there. I'll be able to see them and interact and have a conversation with you about this. These are reasonably informal. I don't necessarily write a long script. I have a structure and a framework I'm going to go to, but the whole idea is to keep this reasonably informative. Now, my goal with everything that I do is to give away my IP. I give away all my best ideas, any new frameworks or structures that I come up for my own internal use inside the business. We give that away as well, because what I see is the value is in the execution. I was on a podcast yesterday. I'm invited on a lot of podcasts, it seems, and the person asked me about the impact of AI and how that's going to positively or negatively affect salespeople. They position themselves saying, "Oh, well, salespeople will be out of a job when AI stands into its own." And really, at the end of the day, I don't believe that to be true. I think the real value is in the diagnosis. And, we've spoken a lot about that with my existing customers and also people who have engaged with the brand and the business over time, is the value is in the execution. The value is in the diagnosis. The value exists in that human part. Because the thing is, business products. And so when you can position your product as something that is known, visible, understood, and safe, These are the reasons, this is the way that a product can scale. And the safety thing can't be understated. The safety thing around how businesses purchase these days, certainly software, because I know most of you are in the software space, and it's about creating a place where your better, faster, cheaper product is actually not a great way of positioning the value you bring. Safety, looking good, and making sure that even if it does blow up, because people are relatively, they're positive, but also have a little bit of pessimism in there as well. Even if it all blows up, their superiors or their friends or their relatives or their bankers are going to look at it and go, well, I can see why you bought that. You're not a complete idiot. So this is how we got to think about that. And so today, when it comes to authority and building authority on LinkedIn or really any platform that is, you need to be visible and you need to show up. So let's go through the program, and we'll keep going. If there's any questions at any time, if you want the slides at any time, just go ahead and put the word slides in there, or any questions you've got, and I'll be able to make sure I get that to you. So the whole goal here now, certainly in 2025, has been so true. In 2026, is going to become even more true with the fact that ChatGPT and Instacart have now done a deal, and really you can make purchases and find stuff through ChatGPT. I've got a bit of a sore ankle at the moment. I was at the gym, twisted my ankle, and I thought, well, I need who do I see about that? A physio, sports physio. ChatGPT asked the question. It gave me a relatively broad answer, and then I said, would you like me to find someone locally for you? Boom, straight in there, and it just started bringing up map locations of people inside ChatGPT. So Instacart has now done a deal with ChatGPT and other AI models. You need to be able to be found by those, and if you really want to get found, you need to position yourself as an authority. You need to publish a lot, and that is typically not able to be done by most people because they just don't have the teams behind them to do so. So really what I want to have at the end of this conversation today is in your mind a really clear way where you can stand out, be remembered, and get chosen first. Because marketing back when I started was put an advert in, the salespeople would do all the activities around, providing documentation. They would provide testimonials and customers they can speak to and demonstrations. Well, all of that's now being done before you talk to a customer. All of that brand building, all of that positioning is done before a customer calls you up or you call a customer. And so even if you do cold call or you do outbound stuff, they're going to go find you. So the idea is to stand out, be remembered, and get chosen first. Because I've put this slide up before, is really the number one asset for any business and entrepreneur is attention, or personal brand is attention. And personal brand, you've probably picked up a theme in the last 6 months of my webinars. Personal brand is the most important thing that I'm focusing on for my clients and as entrepreneurs, because really you can't replicate that. AI can't AI you or me just yet. So it's about building that personal brand. And I've often said the only reason you don't have enough sales is not enough people know about you. And I want you to really sort of sit in that for a moment. The only reason you don't have enough sales is not enough people know about you. And if you really take that to heart, that should really ring true for you, because the people you buy from is not the unknowns. The people you buy from are the ones that actually you know about. You've become brand aware and you've gone looking. You've decided that through their authority, through their presence online, you've shown up and you've purchased from them in some way, got a job from them with them or something like that. So why most leaders struggle? So let's talk about the real problems here, because it's I don't publish because of this, that, and the other. But let's go into that. Why do most leaders struggle to get the attention they deserve? So first of all, it's visibility. So not enough people know about you, know your company exists. Limited brand building activities and weak social media and industry presence. You need to own that stuff. You need to really be. Sorry, I'll put the slides there. I'll make myself less important. The slides are more important. And so the visibility, not enough people know your company exists. Carry on. Unclear positioning. So I'm looking at the slides. I wasn't looking at myself. Unclear positioning. So many people I speak to and in the market, they go, oh, we can do everything for everybody. We've got a great product that can be changed to this and changed to that. The challenge is finding that sweet spot of customers and who you can speak to. And I know some businesses here in the room are early stage. What I need you to think about is, how do I really add value to a specific group? Because if you can find that group, then you're going to be way better off. And limited differentiation, you need to stand out. And once again, through personal branding. And of course, inconsistent outreach, relying on referrals. inconsistent posting online, no structured really or visibility rhythm, and of course paid ads. Now the thing is with paid ads, when we're running paid ads these days, we're actually producing a lot of content, free content, looking for the stuff that indexes, because we're tired as marketers. We're tired of trying to guess what your best ads are. We need the market to actually tell us. What do people respond to? It's hard, people don't go out there on purpose to do viral things. They go viral because the market responds. Obviously, people who hack it, like Mr. Beast and such, but really most of us aren't built like that. So we put out content and then we find what indexes, and that's what we run ads against. And of course, even if somebody sees an advert of yours and you've got a great offer, they're still going to Google you. They're still going to look. They're still going to review your website, your LinkedIn presence, your what are you saying to the market? Because your advert might be great, but you still might not be hitting the market there. So what happens when you don't have this, when you have these things occurring, is you miss opportunities. Obviously, sales opportunities, you have a longer sales cycle. And what I've seen time and time again is the sales cycle gets shorter and shorter, the more visible you are, the less scary the purchase is, the more volume you have out there in the marketplace allows the person to really understand who you are, what you stand for. Therefore, the sales cycle gets shorter, because remember, they're going to engage with you in selling far later on the track, because marketing's done the work. Obviously, lower trust. We've talked about that. I've said I've got a slide in other decks where I say the speed in which you can grow your business is the speed in which you can build and transfer trust. That's why people look to Google reviews. That's why people look to your testimonials. They look to a whole range of things that says, okay, you say you're good, but what do other people say about you? Competition makes the sale. That's really the big challenge here, is when you have no visibility or unclear positioning or inconsistent outreach, just somebody else is going to get the deal. And of course, you're reasonably forgettable. They go, oh, who was that person? They did a thing with security or finance or something, but and you're gone. You're sort of out the door. So these are the challenges here. And so why is it so hard? And why in a world of AI, why are we in this situation? Because I've ranked these from third, first, then second. The first is, of course, the most painful. But the third one here is inauthentic. 62% of leaders say AI contact feels generic or unsafe. And when somebody's making a B2B purchase, they want to feel safe. They need to make sure that the person who's writing the content, actually there's some personality behind it. There's something there. Buyers disengage when content feels inauthentic. The good old M-dash, my copywriters are still lamenting the fact that the M-dash is now dead, because the moment that you see an M-dash there, you go, oh, that might be AI content. And of course, the AI is still going to produce that. You just got to be aware of what it is, make sure it's still in your voice. And of course, people buy from people. The second here is fragmented. It's all too hard. The reason businesses spend, $4,000, $8,000, $10,000 with companies like mine to produce really high volumes and high value content is because it is hard. There's 10 to 13 different tools that marketers use to work with clients, find the information out, to edit it, to publish it, to find the imagery, all of that sort of stuff, and it's all too hard. So that's why individual entrepreneurs, individual contributors, salespeople, and CEOs really struggle to do this, because it's all just too damn hard. And when your workflow is fragmented, there'll always be friction. And friction is, that's the death of most businesses and death of most workflows. As the friction exists, you're not going to really get a flow on. And of course, the last one is inconsistent. Inconsistency destroys visibility faster than any other factor. It's the root cause that kills authority, recall, trust, and momentum. Remember, if you're forgotten, you're not going to make the sale. So I want to bring you back, and quite a few of you have seen my webinars before, and I want to remind you of the 4 main impact areas. These 4 remained consistent for a number of years, and the reason is because they continue to be true. So I only change or update stuff if it becomes untrue. And so the thing is, remember the 4. And the thing is, I want to put the focus on me just for a second. Okay, because I'm trying to make a point. Even though you might have heard this before, I want you to think about it again. I want you to really understand what we're talking about here are these 4 impact areas in a business. Because if you think about these every single month, your marketing and your business will get better. If you forget about this stuff, it's going to get worse. So I don't know how else I can put that in a more impactful way, but you need to continue to remember the core four, or the four impact areas when it comes to selling and growing your organization. So your target market. So demographics is not enough. We sell to transport companies in Roma who have 10 trucks. That's not enough. You need to understand the psychographics of your best fit client. That's the individual. Remember, people buy products, not businesses. And I've got a whole webinars and whole conversations about that. If you'd like my guide to really understanding the fit customer, just type in target market in the comments, and I'll make sure you get that training, because it's super important that you think about how you actually engage with those customers. The next part is your circle of influence. How do you grow the number of people that can talk about you, that know who you are? Obscurity is the enemy. You need to expand your visibility by creating valuable content that engages your best fit buyers. Because, for example, I put a post out a couple of weeks ago. I'll show some results of that post that I produced using my tool. Got almost 80,000 80,000 interactions with that, and I had 19 people just from that one post connect with me, became my follower. That's huge. And these people were second degree, third degree connections. They started following me because of a post. So you need to continue to build out really high value commentary, high value thought leadership, high value content that allows your best fit customers to find you. The third part is your relationships, building lasting trust-based relationships via personalized, value-driven communication. A bit of a mouthful there, but really think about it. Would your best fit buyer share your content with a colleague? That's an incredible sniff test to go against. If you've got content out there and you're talking to people, you have so many opportunities to put content out there. But if you look at it and go, will this customer, and you might have done a video testimonial with them, so therefore they're a real strong customer. They're a friend. You spend time with them. You've gone to their offices. I read this stuff and go, would these people share this stuff? Yeah, they might not, but would they? Would they go, this is good stuff? That's when you start getting those exponential growth with your content. And of course, oops, went the wrong way. And your offer, of course. Craft compelling offers that solve your prospects' problems and lead them to meaningful sales conversations. And that's about warming up the process. That's about creating an easy flow to go through the whole thing. Now, I'll make myself small again so you can take the screenshot, or if you want the slides, just put slides. And I've seen a few. Okay, so a few people want the target market training. Happy to send that to you. More than happy to. So even my videos over some of this stuff. So if you want as I said, just put slides in there. My team will make sure you get the slides at the end of this webinar. All right, so we've talked about those four core. Now, your circle of influence, because we're going to talk about the bottom row of that particular four quadrants. There's four quadrants. Now, I know I've put this out there before, but this is still good thinking. This is the idea that I'm going for here is pick one, pick two, pick something. And people say, oh, what do I put out there? Look, here's nine ways to engage. I reckon I could come up with another 9, give me half an hour. But the thing that doubled my business in 2025, and once again, make sure I put the focus on me because I want to make this point. We doubled our business in 2025. Thanks, Michael. I'll send that to you. By committing to a certain set of activities every single week and every single month. And that drove trust, and that drove engagement, and of course drove massive change in revenue. And what did I do? I did webinars every single month. I spent some, and then I wrote an email to my database every single week. That's it. And of course, those and the things from those, the main activities, the flow-on effect is, of course, every single month I had plenty to say on LinkedIn because I was making comments and commentary on the topic of my webinar. If you've seen any of my content in the last month or so promoting this webinar, it's been tangentially and sometimes reasonably aligned, but sometimes quite on a tangent, around that. What's the value of the authority? What's the value of building a good content engine? So There's that. My emails that have gone out. Once again, those emails created a list of topics that I could write in my blog, and then my blog goes out there on LinkedIn, and also on my newsletter on LinkedIn. 5,000 people get that every month. So there's lots of content going out there. But I decided on two main activities, and those activities drew a direct line of sight to me doubling the business and now moving to America. But really, it was about driving some discipline that I had to make those commitments to myself. And that's what's really made an impact. But any of these things that you do, let me just make that full screen again. Any of these things that you do will make an impact if you do them over and over and over. All right. So that's, oops, I pushed the wrong button. This one here. Let's carry on. Okay. So here is some statistics for you. In the last 90 days, I have put content out there and got 100,000 impressions. Now, I'm not a TikTok dancer. I'm not a young, attractive person. This is not my, my attractiveness is not solving the problem. It's my content, the way that I think, and the value that I bring out there. 100,000 impressions. I've only got 14,000 people that I am connected with on LinkedIn, but 62,739 people have seen my content. In the last 90 days, 500, so this graph down here, this last 90 days, 500 people, more than 500 people have new followers. But it's only a 3% rise. So you can see that I've continued to get more and more followers as time goes on, because as I continue to put out more and more content. Also, and so some of these webinars, from invisible to irresistible, 137, 138, if you include this person here. And then 142. So that went down between those two, but that's okay. And the thing is, if I then got discouraged because the month in between those, I had 35. And if I got discouraged about that, then I might not have done the one that got me 142 or 137 people. But the thing is, I was consistent, and that's why the business has continued to grow. And if we show that, I'll just get rid of my video altogether because I want you to see this. Profile activity from just one post, I got 195 profile views and 19 people connected with me. Now, this is not to impress you, but to impress upon you the value that being consistent, adding value, and really giving actually has. So let's carry on. So this is a new framework that we've come up with over the course of the last little while. So it's called Get Known. And what happens when you get known? Or what's the, there we go, done there. So what happens when you get known? First of all, you show up consistently with clear ideas that put you on your market's radar. There we go. You've built familiarity. This is a flywheel. This is why they're sort of goes in a circle here, because the visibility creates familiarity. Repeated exposure builds recognition, comfort, and with a sense of knowing who you are. That builds trust. So familiarity becomes trust. You become a trusted voice, making you the logical choice when problems arise, and which of course leads to opportunity. Trust leads to warmer conversations, referrals, inbound interest. Because funny enough, even my referrals have gone up, even though my inbound has come in more, because even the customers you're working with feel better about referring you because you've been putting out such great stuff. And once again, if the sniff test is, would somebody who I know, like, and trust share my content, then I go, well, that's a win. Now, I'm not saying every piece is a banger, not every song is a hit, but you put out enough volume and you have your own voice, that's when you actually start to really get some traction there. So let's break down that known framework. So I want you to remember known, I need to get known, but what does that mean? Let's break that down. So first of all, known, to know the exact leaders, buyers, and decision makers you need to see, that you need to see your message. Now that talks to our target marketing piece, right? But not just who they are demographically, but psychographically. How are they measured? What is their education level? Who are they specifically? And for nail, you've got to nail your positioning and content so your audience instantly understands your value. Oh, there's two full stops there. Should have edited that. So you've got to absolutely nail it, really, really clear. Nail your positioning. The third part is own your market and your voice. Now that's two things there. Own your market, be the person in your market that people know, and own your voice. Be really clear about who you are and what you stand for. If you're just sharing company memes or company content, that's fine, but you need to have your own spin on it. You need to have your own voice inside of that. One of the things that some people in the audience I know, they put together beautifully graphically designed pieces of work, but it doesn't have a lot of heart. I'm not picking on anybody in particular. I'm just saying, think about who that heart is. People buy from people they know, like, and trust. You need to own your market and have your own voice. The third part here is warm. You have to warm your audience with a simple path that turns attention into conversations. So make them feel easy, make it feel fun. So they warm into, so once you've warmed your audience up, there's a simple path for them to go ahead and turn into a conversation. And of course, normalize and automate. Because if you can normalize and automate so you show up even when you're busy. And that's the biggest killer of most people, most people's content is they go, I'm too busy, I got clients calling, the product needs attention, this, that, and the other, whatever it might be. You find yourself in a situation where you don't have a machine in place, the content doesn't go out, you get forgotten about, and that's what happens. All right, so why this matters right now. So why this matters right now is AI is actually, once again, I want to make a point here. The volume of AI slop that's out there, and I'm not rubbish. I use AI every day. I'm going to show you a tool that I use which has AI in it. But so I'm not rubbishing AI, but people's inattention to quality and value has caused the algorithm. The LinkedIn has changed the algorithm. They just brought out Brew 360, and that's a brand new algorithm. They brought all of their different agents together into one. And that is really rewarding people that post, are consistent, and create conversations. And so they know that attention is shrinking, and attention is shrinking. So you've got to get more volume out there. You've got to get it out there. The second thing is, of course, trust follows visibility. Of course, 2026 is going to be a landmark year with being found online. You need to produce content that obviously is optimized for the AI, and there's specific ways to write. I write my blogs, how I write my articles or my emails that go out, and then I also edit it for an AI optimize. AI optimize like FAQs, they like dot points, they like to be able to have that. So when you go and start putting content out there, you need to put it out in different formats, because your audience is not just the human anymore, it's also the bot that's looking at your site. So you need to be able to do two things at once, well, actually multiple things at once. And so, yeah, that's super important. So 2026 is going to be a landmark year. If you're not publishing consistently and putting content out there and being a useful individual, like really actually you, because there's no other you out there, you're going to find yourself in a real, there's somebody else in the market is going to do it. And of course, structure beats motivation. I'm the type of person that my motivation goes up and down and my enthusiasm goes up and down. But the thing is, I created a structure around my emails, I created a structure around my webinars, created a structure around my content. And now I show up every single day online in some form, simply because that structure beats motivation. I don't need to think about it. I pressed it, it goes out there. All right. So hopefully I've shared with you a few things that sort of make sense and you go, yep, I need to do it, and I understand what's going on there. So this is where we are now. So you understand the real visibility challenges. You know the 4 keys of target, influence, relationship, and offers. You know why publishing is non-negotiable. You've learned the structure behind consistent content, and you understand the known framework. So let me put all that together. And the thing is, with what we've been doing inside TechTorque is people are able to do this in about 30 minutes a week. So it's not a whole new job. And so what I've done is I've taken my own medicine, is I never do a live demo. So I've recorded a demo. So enjoy. Hi, thanks very much, Matthew. I'm really keen to show everybody the Authority RevUp. It's quite amazing. It's made an incredible difference in our business in the last 6 months, and I'm sure it'll help you in yours. So let me go ahead and make myself a bit smaller. Actually, I'll get myself in the corner. There we go. Cool. Look, there's lots of stuff in the Authority RevUp products, but I'm not going to go into all of it today. I'm going to show you the 2 key areas that have made the biggest difference, that has changed my life and certainly generated a significant number of leads, massive amount of I guess, eyeballs on our products and really changed our content game. So let's go over to the twin, lots of other options. So the twin is where I've uploaded all of my stuff. I've uploaded my half-written book, things that I've written, old webinars that I've gone ahead and done, and I've put the recording in here. What this does, it actually starts breaking it up into different areas. So frameworks and mental models is something that I talk about a lot, as you would know from being part of this webinar. I love a good mental model. And then let's go sales, because I've got lots to say about sales. And what that's doing is it's bringing up every time that I've talked about sales, and how that relates to other areas. So it actually starts to stitch together random ideas and like a neural network. And I'll let that load up, and I'll just explain how you go ahead and train this. So it's got a 310 up here. So 310 is showing us that I've got an IQ score of 200 is excellent. I've given it a lot more information. Of course, it's got quite a bit of info there because I use it all the time. So guided twin training, this is actually a really cool piece. So you can actually train the product by doing interviews, and those interviews are voice interviews. It sends you a question, you answer it, and then you click send, and it reviews what you've said, and then asks a follow-up question on that. So, because this is all based on being like a journalist, and journalists get the best information, and so that's what this product is doing. Is it's actually like a digital journalist, and of course you can go through and upload all your content here. Have a conversation with your twin. And for example, I did one just before, a sales strategy conversation yesterday. And what I said is, I want to write about sales for SaaS, right? Obviously. And then I said, okay, here's how I can help. Here's what we do. Here's the areas that we know about. Here's the key themes I'm seeing in my content. So it actually talks to you like you're like you're a person, and is able to have a conversation back and forth, and the brain it's using is your brain. It's very, very cool. And then you can just go ahead and chat with it. Now, through this twin, you've got so much information, so many ways to actually think about stuff. And what that does is it gives you ways of joining two ideas together that allows you to create better ideas, new ideas. So there's lots of stuff in there. There's many, many hours of data that's gone into this, lots of programming that's gone into this to make it even more accurate like you. Because one of the biggest challenges that most models have is that they don't really understand you. You might be able to write an article, but what happens is it becomes AI slop. It becomes just generic. Whereas with the model and the twin, it's downloaded all of your information and understands you really, really well, and then it can write like you. It can help you sell more to the right people, communicate more effectively. I use it as a way to help me think about process and think about challenges. I had a client send me an email the other week. It was a pretty challenging, long email. Good stuff. So what I did is I took that email, put it into the twin, and we sort of brainstormed it and how I can position that back to the client, and it made a really good email, and the client was absolutely delighted with what we came up with at the end of the day there. So I'll put myself back down here, and we'll go over to Supernova, because this is where it really will blow your mind. Okay, so with Supernova, you've got here, and what we're going to do is we can repurpose content. You can repurpose existing files into 6 LinkedIn posts. You can create content. You can do whatever you like. You can talk to it like an AI. So what I've done here is I found an article on CRN about IoT things that might be interesting. I'm just going to go ahead and paste it in here and say go. And this is such a cool way to build up a library of work. So let's say you don't necessarily have a fresh idea, but you need to post something. What this will do is we'll actually read the article that you found online and then run it past your way of speaking. And so we're going to go ahead and says, okay, we've seen this. We've got all of these different things connected. Let's go with LinkedIn. Let's just go with LinkedIn for now. Make sure we've got our brain switched on. Well, might as well let's do LinkedIn and Twitter and blog. Why not? Let's go crazy. Let's continue with those 3 channels. Now I'm going to go ahead and pause every now and then during this while the AI thinks and builds out content. Here we go. What we've got here is it's saying, right, these are the areas. How many pieces of content do you want to do? And I'm just going to go ahead and say, look, let's just do best practice. Okay, we're back. And so what it's done is created 9 pieces of content, 3 on LinkedIn, 4 on Twitter, and 2 long-form blogs. Now, this is the cool thing I want to share with you. Sales operates with, and as I said in a previous part of the webinar, is that there is a sales funnel. And you've got to make sure you build your circle of influence, and you've got to build trust with those people, and you've got to ask them to buy something. So circle of influence, was that one? And then you've got your relationship and then your offer. And that's exactly what we've done here is we've built the content to be growth, trust building, or conversion. So I'm going to go ahead and choose balanced, a bit of both, a bit of everything, right? That's going to give you the ability to look across all of those. So we're going to go with a balanced strategy, 3 growth pieces. You can read, but really what we're trying to do here is give you all of that information. So now it's going to take a couple of minutes. It never takes 8 minutes. But I'll just pause it for now. All right, so welcome back. And what it's done is it created a bunch of content. It's gone ahead and created those 9 pieces of content, and here we are. It's now put it into a calendar. Vendors sell futures, customers buy presents. So this is a really interesting take. So it's a growth take. It has a narrative style, brand voice, thought-provoking. What's the hook? The hook is looking for pattern observation. The angles, and you can edit all of this if you like. So you make it sound really like you. What this is doing is it's mapped it all out all the way through to next week. How are we going? We've got 9 content there. And also you can go, as I said, you can go with interview, or you can just skip it. And once again, it's going to skip the interview, and that's now going to put it into my calendar. So let us do its analysis, and then it'll fill up the calendar. All right, so what it's done now is it's gone ahead and built all the content. It's taken about 2 minutes, estimated time saved about 8 hours. So let's go over to my social suite and see where it is. And here we go. We've got, here are all the drafts that have been created. Obviously, all of these ones have been published last week that I helped write, and some of these got incredible attraction. So let's go ahead and look at this one. And so your cutting edge tech isn't the problem. And so what that does is it creates a way for people to engage with the article. And what that's going to do is you can read through that. You can have a conversation with the AI. Hey, I wanted to do this, that, and the other. I want it to be, you can also optimize it. Look, there's so much to do. I won't go too deep into it, but really overall, what this has given us the ability to do, if we go back to here, go to calendar, we look at the calendar feed, and here they all are. So starting tomorrow, here's all the posts that are ready to go out. Build on growth, trust, and of course, conversion. All right, back to you, Matthew. Thank you, Matthew. The reason I did that, first of all, of course, never do a live demo, and I'll fight any of you that want to do live demos. So, I'm joking, and a few of my clients in here know how I feel about that. But at the end of the day, what this has done, and how we started this product, how we started with this, is we created it because how I used to do content is I would interview a client. And we go backwards and forwards, and we take that script, that interview, and then I would hand it to a professional copywriter, spending hundreds, actually thousands of dollars on professional copywriters to really pull out the nuance and really capture the voice and do all those types of things. And what we did is, so what we do now is we have the interview, and then I send a link to the customer, and then the software, the Authority RevUp, actually does the interviewing. So they'll ask a question, what's your take on this particular piece of technology, or what's your take on how ERPs are affecting, this, that, and the other, whatever business you're in. And then you answer the question. You can just click the voice, click the microphone, and just talk the whole time. Just chat away, and then hit go, and then it'll read what you've said and then ask a follow-up question. Read what you said and ask a follow-up question. Read what you said. And so you go through, after about 10 minutes, they've captured not only your actual thoughts, not just the thoughts you put down, but your actual thoughts and your voice, your style, your way of putting things. That's how the product works. And of course, now it's been built out to do an incredible amount of things. That Trend Master you might have seen there. I won't go back to the demo, but if we have a look at this here, Trend Master, what that is actually it's continuing to scan your market for trends that are occurring out there. So you put in your preferences, goes out there and scans all the market and says, oh, okay, Daniel's interested in this. Thanks for the clapping there. And this is interesting. And then it gets you a hot take on that, but also then takes that article and then positions it exactly in your market. So for example, there was one the other day for about Instacart or Salesforce actually. And so I wrote an article about that, but it actually it didn't just talk about how Salesforce has done a particular thing. It then put it in the position of small to medium. They should be thinking about, because that's my market. That's who I talk to. That's who I work with. And so it's always about taking the news and spinning it and putting your angle on it, because that's what grabs people. That's what, the article I wrote a couple of months ago, about a month, 3 or 4 weeks ago now, was about McKinsey getting an award from OpenAI. I used this platform to do it. And that got, as I said, 80,000 impressions, more than about 20 people, 19 people who have connected with me, and genuinely new leads that have come into the business. And so that's huge numbers. And just as you saw earlier, it's really growing my business, and I want to share that with you. So what does that mean for us here today? What I'm doing is, so what's next? So hopefully you've got some value out of today's conversation. What I wanted to share with you is the importance of publishing, and I think we've covered that off pretty well, and what's happening, what's coming down the pipeline. So with Authority RevUp, the product is called Authority RevUp. What I'd like you to do is I'll send you the link, but also you can go to authorityrevup.com and then you can apply to be one of the first 20. So we've been selling this and working with this for almost a year now inside the business. This is the first time I'm now releasing it to the general public. We're only going to work with 20 people. These guys and girls are going to be our core group. These are going to be our case studies, and those case studies are going to be given just more of everything. Time with me, time with the inside the business. We're going to create a community of other founders and sales and CEOs on an online community. So you're all working towards the same thing. There's going to be weekly webinars. Obviously, they're going to be recorded. The idea is to help you implement what we're calling the known framework, because what we're trying to do is create message market resonance. Because if your message doesn't resonate with your market, then you're just putting out, nonsense. You may as well not put it out there. So there's only going to be 20 slots. And I'm going to be sending this email out tomorrow to my database of 5,000. But I want people who have joined in tonight to grab those 20 slots, go onto the website, click apply now. It's not a commitment to purchase. It's just hey, I'm interested. Hey, tell me more, Matthew, and then I'll provide you with more information. I only really want to talk to people who are super motivated to do something like this. So we're going to get you publishing in your first week, and high quality publishing, not just some slop. You're going to have obviously the Get Known framework that's baked into the system. If you do decide to go forward, there's a 50% lifetime discount for this first 20 people. That is off the onboarding and the ongoing cost. And by the way, the ongoing cost is like $200 a month. So it's whereas normally people are spending $4,000 to $8,000 a month with TechTorque. What we're going to do is allow you to use that platform for about that $200 mark. And of course, we have a success guarantee. We want you to be successful, because those 20 are going to be the springboard upon which we grow the rest of the business. So ladies and gentlemen, please do, if you are interested, and if this has resonated with you as something you want to do, just put your name into the form. Go to the Authority RevUp website, authorityrevup.com. Go there, check it out, have a read. I did also a video. You can see that I'm wearing the same outfit, so it's consistent. But I also did a video explaining the product again. It's only about 3 minutes long, and I really appreciate your attendance this evening. Thank you so much for taking the time. I'll put this back to the full screen there. So as I said, there's 20 spots available. Personalized onboarding, publishing in your first week, message market resonance within 90 days. And then you're going to be getting known, 50% lifetime discount. And of course, we have that success guarantee. So go to authorityrevup.com. Of course, if you want to put something in the comments here, just say, send me the link, and we'll make sure we send you the link as well. So in the comments, send me the link, or of course, you can go directly there. So, ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for being part of it. Even if this is not something you want to go ahead with, that's great. I really appreciate you taking the time this evening or this morning, because if you're not doing this, you've got to figure out a way to do it. If you're not going to use this product to do it, and hopefully you understand how important it is to really get your message out there, because the only people who are going to make sales in the next period, from 2026 onwards, are the ones that everybody knows about and can own the algorithm. The AI, the LLMs are coming for Google's job. That's why Google is working so damn hard to make sure those results are useful and they're doing deals. So we need to make sure we get into that rhythm, so when you're busy, it's no longer a chore. Thank you very much for taking the time this evening. Looking forward to seeing you, and I'll talk to you later. Bye for now.